Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Tournament Podcast. This is Mike, joined as always by my brothers Tom and Marty. And this week, we're going to take a little bit of a diversion away from the professional wrestling industry, which two of our first three episodes have focused on, with one focusing on the music industry. This week, we're going to take our first foray into the film industry with my own personal list of the best action movies of the 1980s, which I think we could all probably agree is, when it comes to music and movies, is probably the best decade. If not, it's definitely up there. I think Tom and Marty would both agree. How do you guys feel about this?
Well, I would definitely agree, but actually, I will throw this in. You probably have stolen, or I don't want to say stolen, 'cause, we're all three, I'm sure, always coming up with ideas for future podcast topics. One of the topics that I have written down is the greatest Golden Globus movies.
Oh, nice.
And I have a feeling that Golden Globus might make an appearance or two in your list. So that might do away with that idea. But
Hopefully.
yeah, well, I know one that better be in there. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And just to kind of reiterate, I know we do every week, but this is not a definitive list. Getting it down to 16, as I'm sure it's been the first, three episodes. Whittling your list down to 16, even if you're doing a specific genre of film, is still very difficult. So there will be some movies that, that I'm a fan of, movies I love that just didn't make the list. Again, had to get it down to 16, so some movies had to get excluded, unfortunately. But as always, we'd like you to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Let us know what you think of the list, if you think there's anything that should have been excluded, included, or just overall, what do you think of the matchups or the ultimate winner? We'd love to hear what your thoughts are.
Yeah, and just to throw in, because I think each week we kind of forget, if this is your first time listening to the Tournament Podcast, we also each have one veto. So as these matchups are going to be randomly generated, and as we're going through and making our selections, if at any time, if Mike and Marty agree on one movie and I want the other one to move forward, I could use my veto at that point and push my selection forward. However, I think we've decided that we can use our veto at any time, so even if I do that, if they feel strongly enough, they could then use one of their vetoes to veto me, but in doing so, then you're without it for the rest of the tournament. So we have to use that wisely, but that is another aspect to what we do here. So just wanted to throw that in.
Yep. So I guess unless we have anything else to add, or if anybody wants to kind of go back and touch on anything from this week's episode, rather, just posted this morning, please take a look at the greatest pro wrestler of all time. It's an amazing episode, as always. But unless we want to go back and have anything to add, I guess I will go ahead and get started.
The only thing I would say is that it was a little long. So we apologize for that. My initial thought was to break it in two parts. But then I thought on YouTube that would work because we just have a link to the second part. But in the podcasting world, on Stitcher or Spotify, it would just abruptly end after the first round, and it might not be so easy to navigate and pull up the second part. So I wound up leaving it one long podcast. But typically, I think we're going to try to stay around an hour. That's seems to be the sweet spot. So that's all I have.
All right. Well, then let's get ready here. I will go ahead and name the 16 movies that I've selected. And again, comment on the video, please. Let me know if there's movies that you think I should take out or should have in here. But And there's several. I mean, there's enough movies, and again, this is just action movies. There's enough left over. I could probably have a whole nother tournament or two, three, who knows. But these are just 16 that are near and dear to my heart for various reasons. So I will go ahead and start naming them off here, and we're going to go in order of release, going from 1980 to 89. So this is not best to worst or anything, just year of release. Starting with 1980, I've got The Empire Strikes Back, which is the second of the original Star Wars trilogy. I believe
that's going to be hard to beat.
I believe it's considered episode 5, if I'm not mistaken, in current canon. But
yeah, and I say we're blurring the line there between sci-fi and action, but I mean it obviously is action as well. So,
and there's a few movies that are in that same vein. There's some action comedy, some sci-fi action, but
now when Mike first said he was creating this, I assumed all 16 movies would be Chuck Norris movies. So right out of the gate, I am surprised.
Well, I will give one spoiler. Unfortunately, Chuck Norris did not make this list.
Oh, this.
Is she kidding?
Well, because I figured it wouldn't be a fair tournament then if Chuck was involved, because obviously we knew who the winner was going to be.
Oh,
so
that's very thoughtful. That's a good point. I apologize.
I didn't want Chuck. Oh, yeah, because I figured if Chuck did somehow lose, then I can't go to work or leave the house ever again. So Chuck did not make the list. So if you're listening, Chuck, I do apologize. Also from 1980, I've got Superman 2, which is arguably one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best sequels in probably film history. From, let's see, 1981, we've got Escape from New York, starring Kurt Russell, another classic. I've got The Road Warrior with Mel Gibson.
I don't think there's anything that can beat that. Should we end the podcast?
Also from 1981, the Harrison Ford-led Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Nice.
Man.
Which is again another classic. So this is going to be this is going to be a tough week. 1982, I've got First Blood, starring Sylvester Stallone, which some people may not know based on the name, but is actually the original Rocky, the original Rambo movie, rather. And in my opinion, it's probably the best of the 5, I believe now. So moving on to 1983, we've got Revenge of the Ninja.
I was hoping this was on the list, or I was going to slam my headset down and log off. So that's good.
Next, we have Beverly Hills Cop with Eddie Murphy, which is kind of an action comedy.
Yes.
But that couldn't be excluded. As well as The Terminator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that's another one that's kind of a sci-fi action film, but and then we move on to the year 1985, which may be the single greatest year in film history. If you look at just overall the movies that came out in 1985, it's ridiculous, but as far as the action movies that made the list here, we've got American Ninja, which is a damn classic, starring Michael Dudikoff.
Yep.
We've got Commando, with Arnold making his second appearance, and another spoiler, not his last on the list here. And also from 1985, starring the underrated Timac, The Last Dragon, also known as Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon.
Yeah, classic. Sure enough.
1987. All apologies to 86, but there wasn't a movie that I felt deserved to beat out any of the others here from that year. So we go into 87. We've got Lethal Weapon with Mel Gibson making his second appearance on the list. Oh, this is going to be a hard one to beat, especially for Tom, the Predator, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well,
Which I
probably
know,
my all-time favorite single movie. So yeah,
yeah, Predator.
wow.
And then the last two here, from 1988, one of my personal favorites, Die Hard with Bruce Willis. And from
Yeah.
1989,
Golly.
I ended up going with Batman, which was, well, I guess technically not the original Batman, but with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, which is probably to this day, even with all the newer, you know, grittier Batman movies, maybe my personal favorite. So I went ahead and include that on the list. So that is my 16 best, or I guess favorite action movies of the 1980s.
Yeah, and that is a hell of a list. What we will do, I think, just to make the video appropriate, and so we're not kind of catching people off guard, I'll have to kind of title it like action slash sci-fi, and we had another genre in there too. What
And
was
then
like action?
action comedy.
Yeah. So we'll make that a
Action.
little clear. But they are all action, as you said, but they are, and what I mean, really, most movies are multiple genre, so
Yeah.
it makes sense. But man, there's gonna be some tough decisions here. Woo.
Can I jump in real quick? 'Cause
Absolutely.
to edit this, Mike, I think you literally, I'm sure you meant to put it in there, but you forgot to. Ice Pirates.
Oh, Ice Pirates did get, in all seriousness, it did get some serious consideration
Nice.
because I do remember that movie and love that movie, and it it did get glossed over, unfortunately. But trust me, if there's another list at some point in the future here, Ice Pirates will probably be on it because it
Nice.
did get heavy consideration.
And my last thing, real quick, is what is the criteria that we're basing this on? Is it just our personal preference? Is it, I don't know, action sequences, soundtrack? Do you have a certain criteria on this one?
I was just initially going off of just. That's actually a good question as far as because initially I was just going off just overall, like, do you prefer this movie over this movie? Is there a reason why you prefer the movie? I mean, it's going to be hard for me, obviously, because I picked them, so I'm, quite fond of all 16 movies, but yeah, I mean, I'm going to kind of look at just, the action involved in the movie, maybe rewatchability, because most of these movies I've probably seen multiple times anyway. But
And then that's a good point. Before Marty asked about criteria, it just in my head, that was kind of what I was going to use. If I had to watch one today, what would I prefer to the rewatchability to watch as like my main piece of criteria. So, but yeah, whatever you want it to be, it's your show.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Is you could look at the action in the movie and yeah, just rewatchability, like you said. That's a good way to put it. If you were going to put a movie in right now to watch, if you could only watch one of these two movies, which one would you choose to watch right now? Which again, depending on the matchups here, could get difficult.
Oh yeah, I mean there's. Like 3 or 4 minimum that I'm like, I don't know how they don't win, but they can't all win. So, wow, it's going to be tough.
And that's why I thought this would be a cool entry. Plus, since we hadn't done movies yet.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and randomize the seeds and see what happens here.
I'm nervous.
All right. Whew. Well, starting off in our first matchup of the tournament, we have Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger against Revenge of the Ninja.
Oh my God.
The Shokasugi classic.
Woo. Wow.
So I guess with this one, we'll go ahead and we'll start out with Tom, if you want to give your thoughts on this matchup first.
This, right out of the gate, as we mentioned, these are all going to be difficult. However, in this initial one, it's pretty easy for me, and I will not hold anyone in suspense. It would definitely be Revenge of the Ninja. As you two know, and if people could see behind me, I actually have an autographed picture of Sho Kosugi behind me. So I'm a big Sho Kosugi fan. Love Revenge of the Ninja, as I know we all do. Obviously, Commando, phenomenal movie. And I believe obviously a young Alyssa Milano.
Oh, yeah.
I think that is the movie that started I'll Be Back. Everybody knows it from Terminator, but I think in that one he said I'll Be Back Bennett to the main bad guy, and then from there it just shortened to I'll Be Back. And I think in Terminator they wanted him to change it to I Will Be Back, or he wanted it to change to that, but they kept it as I'll Be Back, which is now classic. But anyway, my take right out of the gate, not to be long-winded, is absolutely Revenge of the Ninja.
All right. And then Marty, I think we know where you're headed as well, but
Oh, absolutely. I agree with Tom. No question. This one's not difficult for me, especially since Arnold has multiple injuries. I don't feel for him, but definitely Revenge of the Ninja.
and this first one will be a clean sweep. I will have
Nice.
to agree. I love Commando, obviously, and to me, it's definitely one of Arnold's, I think, most underrated movies, because you do hear about Predator and Terminator quite a bit, and even like the Conan movies get talked about a fair amount. But yeah, I feel like Commando is very underrated, especially for an action movie. I love that movie. But yeah, Revenge of the Ninja is, again, based on that simple criteria of which one, if I had to sit and watch one right now, which one would I put in? And yeah, but it would have to be Revenge of the Ninja. So it looks like Show is moving on.
All right.
Sorry, Arnold, but you'll be back. Let's see. In the second matchup, then, we have the Bruce Willis classic Die Hard against the Road Warrior.
Oh my God.
Mel Gibson in the
Jesus
the the sequel to the original Mad Max film. Both of these, again, are classics. I guess on this one, since you went first, Tom, we'll let Marty go ahead and start this one off.
Yeah, please
Okay.
do.
Die Hard versus the Road Warrior. Again, I think I say this at least once or twice every episode, but it's so interesting the different matchups you get based on our proprietary generator. I mean, the difference between Die Hard and the Road Warrior is just extreme. You have a post-apocalyptic versus, I think is that based in New York, Die Hard. It's just two totally different movies, both really good movies. However, if we're basing it on what movie we watched, I'm definitely going with the Road Warrior. Huge
Nice.
fan of the Road Warrior.
Yeah. Boy, this still, even now, waiting to go second, I'm still struggling with this one. Road Warrior, special place in my heart. I mean, literally grew up with it, have seen the Road Warrior. Numerous times.
And I believe it's the first time any of us ever saw a grown man eating dog food in a movie. I believe.
You're probably right.
Piece of trivia, I think it was Dinky Doo is the dog food.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, just such a well-crafted film. I mean, yeah, and like you said, a post-apocalyptic, action-type movie versus basically what is an action/family Christmas movie, let's be honest. So they couldn't be any more different. Die Hard is so good. I mean, both movies put both actors on the map. I mean, I think Mad Max is phenomenal too, But the Road Warrior is what really propelled Mel Gibson, I think, into the national spotlight. And I know with Bruce Willis, he had Moonlighting, but I think really the big breakout star was his role in Die Hard. So many classic lines from that. Again, such a well-crafted film. Oh, my God. I'm gonna. These are so. This is a flip of the coin, as we say almost every episode as well. I'm gonna go Die Hard, and the only reason I'm gonna say Die Hard is because that is one that I actually watched with my kids when they were a little bit younger. Just as one, I was like, oh my God, I was around the holidays. Oh yeah, you guys have to see this movie, and of course they both enjoyed it. I don't know if they've either one of them seen The Road Warrior, but just from that little personal perspective, I could watch them both today, but I'm going to just eke out and make it hard on Mike, and I'm going to go with Die Hard.
Yep, and again, this is like we've said the couple times the past couple of weeks. This is a hard one, but it's not a hard one because I do love The Road Warrior. And I've said for years that maybe my favorite actor for a big chunk of time was Mel Gibson. Just he's been in some incredible movies, and The Road Warrior is right at the top there. But man, Die Hard though is, and again, it's going to come down to the matchups. Die Hard will be one that is hard to beat for me because it's maybe my favorite, if not it's damn close to being my favorite action movie of all time, any decade, year, it doesn't matter. So, unfortunately, yeah, I'm going to have to go with Die Hard as well. So, I guess Die Hard is moving on unless Marty uses his veto.
Yeah, there we go. Now, Marty has never used a veto, and this is our 4th full-length podcast.
Yep.
He has yet to use a veto.
Correct. I like to take the stance that if both you guys prefer something, it's almost selfish to use it. But,
well, I've used mine a few times, so I know what you think about me.
Mine, I actually have not used mine either, so.
Well, we're not selfish. No, but in all seriousness, as Mike, you were going through your answer, I figured you were going to pick Die Hard, and I almost said, hey guys, can I jump in here and use? But no, because Die Hard it's a real darn good movie too. So I will not use the veto.
Oh, no.
I regret it.
Ooh, all right. Oh boy, this is.
This can't get any harder.
Just looking at the rest of the matchups for this first round here. I mean, there's going to be some good ones, but this next one is, oh man, we've got American Ninja, starring Michael Dudikoff, against The Last Dragon.
Wow.
Starring Timac. Both are martial arts based action films, but man. I was going to say, I guess, since you guys have both gone first, I could go first, but damn it, I don't really want to. But I'll be honest, but oh, man. This is awkward. I guess I'll go first, but I honestly, if I had a coin in front of me, I would probably literally just flip a coin. Both of these movies have high rewatchability for me. I've watched both of these movies recently, so it is a toss-up. I think I'm gonna go with, and this is gonna kind of go against just because, like I said, both the rewatchability criteria, they both meet that. So I'm gonna, I think, go with The Last Dragon. And honestly, my deciding factor may be the soundtrack. because some of the songs on the soundtrack are phenomenal.
Well, they are.
Including was it oh, who the heck is? I can't even think of the name of who was it did Rhythm of the Night?
El DeBarge.
Yeah, DeBarge, yeah, El DeBarge. Yep. So just because the soundtrack for that movie is so phenomenal, because there is no other way for me to separate the two movies. So even though that's not really part of the criteria, damn it, it's my list. I'm making it part of the criteria.
There you go.
So Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon is moving on, and I do apologize to Michael Dudikoff, who I'm assuming is watching this or will be. But so I guess we will let Tom go second.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to put Marty in a tough predicament here because I am going to go with American Ninja. Again, every one of these movies, I love them both. I watched some clips of The Last Dragon probably within the last year, but oddly enough, I watched American Ninja 1, 2, and 3 within the last 2 weeks.
Nice.
So, yeah, so, I mean, American Ninja, just childhood growing up, special place in my heart. I mean, rewatching it today, I mean, it's not like it's some classic piece of cinema, but it's an action. It's a gritty Golden Globus, as I mentioned early on, action film. And probably, at least in terms of the action criteria, not that Last Dragon isn't, but that is certainly skewed more heavily on the comedy side of things. But I really enjoy American Ninja. Michael Dudikoff versus Tamok in real life. I don't know what would happen there, but I'm going to go with Michael and vote for American Ninja.
Nice. So it looks like it goes to Marty for the tiebreaker.
It does, and this one is I don't think as hard for me as it is for you guys. Both good movies, absolutely. Soundtrack, as you said, I would agree, definitely goes to what's it called? My mind slipped.
The Last
Dragon. Yep. Thank you. Yep, the soundtrack. But
we know what he's picking.
When it goes to well, I'm out of here. When it goes to action, I also would say American Ninja. But if it's close, to me, I could break out a tiebreaker easily, and it's just a one-word tiebreaker. Jackson.
There you go.
I'm going to go with American Ninja.
Yep.
And I appreciate you bringing him up, too. I mean, a very underrated star. Michael's not in all of them. Well, Jackson's not in all of them either. I think I rewatched 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 1 and 2 have Michael. 3 does not. But it has Jackson. And then 4, Michael comes back, but there's no Jackson. So, but yeah, the personality of Jackson and that supporting role is fantastic.
Nice. Yep. And I will just say it now, you will not get a veto out of me. And it's again, since I, picked the list, it's going to be hard for me to use a veto because I enjoy all these movies. So I cannot complain. So American Ninja is moving on. And it will face the winner of Raiders of the Lost Ark, a Harrison Ford classic, and Superman 2 with Christopher Reeve. So I guess Marty, you can go ahead and kick this one off. Is it going to be Raiders of the Lost Ark or Superman 2?
This is a difficult one, but again, as the catchphrase of our podcast goes, it's all about the matchup. Superman 2, I agree with you wholeheartedly that it might be one of the best sequels of all time. And I know it's a little bit aged from the 80s, but to me, the special effects for the time and everything just the story. Superman 2 is awesome. Raiders of the Lost Ark, absolute classic with many funny scenes. Tons of action. To me, when I think of these two films, Superman 2 is amazing. It's more, I don't know, maybe character driven when it follows Clark, and quote unquote maybe a little slower in some points. For me personally, all out, just action, I'm gonna go with Raiders of the Lost Ark. A young Harrison Ford is hard to beat.
Nice. And I'll go ahead and hop in second here. And I'm gonna go the same route. Superman 2, like I said, one of my favorite sequels, and yeah, it is maybe, especially by today's standards, a little dated, but like you said, the effects for being in the early 80s, 1980 actually were pretty darn good. But yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of those movies you can quote several lines from it. Indiana Jones is just a classic character, and actually, just recently, I'd say maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I actually was Indiana Jones for Halloween at my place of employment. So yeah, as much as I enjoy Superman 2, I'm gonna have to go with Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah, that's again gonna be hard to beat, but we shall see. Tom, what are your thoughts?
And I'll leave no suspense. This will be a clean sweep. Again, yeah, Christopher Reeves and the Superman movies were fantastic. But Raiders of the Lost Ark, I think, as we mentioned, like during the podcast with the music, there's levels. Raiders of the Lost Ark is just on a different level, an all-time classic. I mean, Steven Spielberg's, his library is out of this world, but probably his best movie. Harrison Ford, phenomenal. Like Marty mentioned, and so many classic scenes and one-liners. The whole opening and the pit where he thinks he made it, the jump over, and he's grabbing onto the little vine, and it snaps is hilarious. And
Yeah.
the swordsman with the gun. Everybody knows those. They're classics. So I'm not going to drag it on. Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Nice. And both those, just a little trivia, I believe both of these movies were actually scored by the legendary John Williams, if I'm not mistaken, who has done the music for, I know he did Raiders, I believe he did the Superman theme, as well as, Jaws and the Star Wars movies, so...
Wow. Is he accomplished? Holy moly.
Oh, absolutely. So to recap the first half of the bracket here for the second round, we're going to have Revenge of the Ninja going against Die Hard.
Oof.
And American Ninja against Raiders of the Lost Ark. So it's going to get interesting.
A lot of ninja action.
Oh, absolutely. So moving on to the second half of the bracket here, we've got Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger going up against
Predator.
Lethal going up against Lethal Weapon, with Mel Gibson making his second appearance on the list. And I guess just to alleviate some of the suspense, we'll go with Tom first on this one.
Well, I forget what you even said the second movie was. It doesn't matter. We're going to go with Predator. I just think, and again, I am kind of a movie buff. And in all seriousness, and maybe people wouldn't think of an action sci-fi movie like that in this light, but I think Predator is just beautifully directed. It's just so well crafted and pieced together. The flow of it, the story is just fantastic. I love that movie. Lethal Weapon, is a great. It's not a trill. It was at least 4 or 5 Lethal Weapons. Mel Gibson, Danny Glover. As good a duo in movies as you're going to find. But Predator in terms of rewatchability. I could watch it today, tomorrow, and the next day. I love Predator, so Arnold moves on in my book.
And I'll go ahead and hop in second here because I will agree. And yeah, like you said, Lethal Weapon, all four so far, and all four of them are really good movies. And yeah, it's Mel and Danny are a great duo. But yeah, as far as just straight up action, the Lethal Weapon is another one of those that can kind of teeter on action comedy. Predator is just straight up action for 90 plus minutes or whatever it is. So yeah, and if I was putting in one right now, just based on the criteria of action film, which one do I want to watch? Yeah, I think I would be putting in Predator. So depending on what Marty says here, and if a veto is used, otherwise it looks like Predator may be moving on.
Well, I'm going to shock the world. I'm kidding. I'm not going to draw this out. Everything you guys said to me was on point. Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, they're amazing, but Predator is one of the best of all time, and I actually just watched Predator maybe literally no more than 3 weeks ago on one of the streaming services. I watched Predator, then I watched Predators, I think it's called, or is it called The Predator with Adrian Brody? So I
Yeah,
just
that was
watched
Predators with an S.
Oh, okay. So Predator, I just watched within the last like 3 weeks. So absolutely, the rewatchability for me with Predator is off the charts. Clean sweep for Predator.
Yep.
Nice.
All right. Well, Predator will be going up then in the next round against the winner of Beverly Hills Cop.
Yes.
This is an interesting matchup here because Beverly Hills Cop, again, action comedy against I'd say sci-fi action film in The Empire Strikes Back.
Wow.
So we've got Eddie Murphy against Harrison Ford and company.
Wow.
And I guess I'm trying to remember. Can't remember who went first. Actually it was Tom. So I guess Marty, if you want to kick this one off, and I may hop in and go second then.
Yeah. Wow. I told you I say this multiple times each podcast. As our tagline goes, it's all about the matchups. And again, look at the contrast in these movies. Beverly Hills Cop, which I believe takes place in like Detroit, with a tough as nails police officer, and Empire Strikes Back, obviously one of the pivotal, episodes of the Star Wars, it's not a trilogy anymore, but the Star Wars series. Whew-wee. This one is actually really tough for me. Soundtrack, a lot of people might say, oh, The Empire Strikes Back, the Star Wars movies have classic soundtracks. I agree, but come on, Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack is unbeatable. Both movies are riddled with action from, top to bottom. Gosh almighty. If I were to have to pick right now which of the two I'd watch, oh boy. I guess I am going to slightly go with Beverly Hills Cop. It's funny, I did not see all the Star Wars movies in their totality until maybe 10 years ago. A former friend of mine who is now, I think, Tom's best friend, really wanted me to watch all the movies in succession, and I did. Fantastic movie, but I'm going to, on a squeaker, go with Beverly Hills Cop. I even kind of hesitated, but yep, Beverly Hills Cop.
And I'll go second here, and I am going to agree, actually. And it is a tough one. I'm a big fan of all the Star Wars movies and Empire. is probably my favorite one out of the entire series to date. But yeah, Beverly Hills Cop, again, it's, got a lot of quotable scenes, a lot of classic scenes. The soundtrack is amazing. And to me, it's got a higher rewatchability. And, hopefully I don't offend anybody, because I know the Star Wars movies are almost untouchable to a lot of people. And I understand, they are classic films. But yeah, if just in my personal opinion, if I could just sit right now and watch one of those two films, I would have to go with Beverly Hills Cop. So let's see what Tom thinks.
Well, yeah, initially, when you first announced this matchup, or even gave the original 16, I was like, oh my God, Empire Strikes Back is such a classic and such, an important franchise in movie history that I don't know how the heck anything is going to beat that. Using strictly the criteria of rewatchability, I would also go with Beverly Hills Cop. I love all those early. I really am a fan of Star Wars 1, 2, and 3, or what is it, like 5, 6, and 7, however you look at it. The original 3.
Yeah.
And I don't care for any of the recent ones at all. But Beverly Hills Cop, I mean, Eddie Murphy, it was in so many good movies, so many funny, hilarious movies. I'd say this is his best. The duo, Taggart and, God, I forget the other guys.
Oh, what? Rosewood?
Yeah, Rosewood and Taggart along with him. I mean, the dynamic is beautiful. Inspector Todd, even though he turned out in real life to be a real POS.
Surge.
Yeah, Surge.
Oh,
Yep.
absolutely.
I mean, so many phenomenal side characters, but Eddie Murphy, pulls this one off beautifully. I could watch it today. Using that criteria, I am going to go with Beverly Hills Cop as well.
Nice.
But an interesting, like, when, after viewing this video, if somebody would like to comment, I'm actually curious where The Empire Strikes Back actually sits in Star Wars, like, in the series now, because initially it was 2. Then when I guess the second trilogy came out, then I think it was technically, 5, but now there's been a couple of prequels that have come out since, so I actually have no idea where that movie sits, so that would be something interesting. Somebody, if you'd like to comment, let me know exactly where that movie sits in the series of Star Wars films. That would be appreciated.
And just real quick for me personally, Empire Strikes Back is awesome. This is the one that takes place like in the snow, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I believe so.
Yeah, with the AT-ATs and...
Yeah, if it would have been the Star Wars that takes place in the desert with the Sarlacc, I probably would have gone with that one. But, yeah, that's personal.
Yeah, just anybody that doesn't know, Marty doesn't like the snow, so I'm sure that factored in greatly. So, the next matchup here will be Batman from 1989. Unfortunately, I have a feeling I already know where this is going to go, against Escape from New York, starring the great Kurt Russell. So we've got Michael Keaton's Batman against Kurt Russell in Escape from New York. And I don't know if I've gone first in a while, so I will go ahead and go first. And, man, again, both classics, both, they're different types of movies. Because I guess you'd say Escape from New York is almost like I don't know if you'd say a post-apocalyptic kind of feel.
Yeah, definitely a sci-fi.
Yeah,
action.
versus Batman, which is clearly a comic book movie, and I think one of the first, aside from maybe, like, of course, Superman movies, one of the first theatrically released superhero movies. But so yeah, they're two different types of movies. Just going back to obviously as a kid, because I didn't see Escape from New York until I was a little older. Batman, of course, I remember as a kid. I believe I was Batman for Halloween one year. So just, the nostalgic feelings I have for that movie, I think I'm going to go with Batman. It's, again, both movies are great, different kind of movies, but ultimately, I think for me, the rewatchability and just the nostalgia, I'm going to go with Batman. And I believe, let's see, I think it's been a while. So, Marty, if you'd like to go second, and we'll end things off with Tom this round.
All right. The Batman here, is this the original of the older Batman, or is this the second one?
It's the original one. So, this is the one with Jack Nicholson and is the Joker.
Okay. I definitely saw this movie without question.
Oh, no.
But to be honest, I'm trying to remember it. And Escape from New York, I think I watched it last year. I definitely remember Escape from New York. If these were real close to me, I'd go with the soundtrack, which to me is easily Escape from New York. Also, I'm a humongous fan of Kurt Russell. Matter of fact, last night, my son and I watched The Thing, which I think is an underrated classic. But
Nice.
for me, I'm going to go with Escape from New York.
Nice. So we're going to leave this one up to Tom. It's the tiebreaker.
Quickly, I will say that I think the original The Thing is maybe the greatest horror sci-fi movie, if you want to classify it that way, ever made. That is phenomenal, by the way.
Oh, nice. I'm glad to hear that.
In this matchup, the soundtrack. I mean, John Carpenter was just a soundtrack maestro. I mean, my God, could he just do some stuff with a keyboard and a few instruments or whatever? He was phenomenal. Batman, that wasn't Tim Burton, right? He was the one with Arnold
No, that was Joel Schumacher. So yeah,
okay.
Tim Burton did do Batman, and let's not forget Prince did the soundtrack. Everybody's forgetting that Prince, a musical genius.
That's true.
You bring up a very good point. Obviously, I'm going to take Prince over John Carpenter in the musical realm. But I won't drag this on unless you want to use a veto. Mike, Escape from New York, one of literally the all-time greatest action sci-fi movies ever made. I'd watch it today. I mean, it is fantastic. So, Escape from New York. Kurt Russell moves on in my book.
And I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna argue with that decision. It's again with all these, they're all favorites in my opinion. So yeah, I'm not gonna use a veto. Batman, obviously, everybody knows Batman, but at the same time, Snake Plissken is a very recognizable character as well. So.
Two franchises that really took a turn for the worse. I think Batman has bounced back now, but some of those Batmans were hideous, and then also Escape from L.A. came out. Oh, let's not talk about that. I guess let's just move on.
Oh, yeah. That movie. Let's see. The last matchup of the first round here will be...
Can I just jump in? I'm so sorry.
Absolutely.
I was going to say one other thing for Escape to New York, if that was a close one for anyone. There's two big reasons to also pick that. Adrian Barbeau and Donald Pleasance is in there.
Yep. That's true, yep.
And, Isaac Hayes as well.
That's true.
Does a phenomenal job.
Harry Dean Stanton. That movie is star-studded.
And we are a professional wrestling podcast in many respects. And, oh gosh, help me. Who's the wrestler in there?
In Escape from New York?
Yeah, he fights him in the ring.
Is it Ox Baker?
Yes, thank you, Ox Baker. So, yeah, a star-studded cast.
Yeah. Very nice.
So Kurt Russell is moving on. And Kurt will go up against the winner of First Blood with Sylvester Stallone, again, the original Rambo movie, against The Terminator,
Ooh.
with Arnold
Wow.
making his third appearance on the list here. Whew, so I guess who went? Actually, I think I went first. I guess, let's see. What, Tom, if you want to go ahead and take this one.
Yeah, this one is tough because I would think from real movie lovers, not like the academies and these interesting folks that pick, like the movie awards. And I use interesting as a word choice. I could use other words, but I don't think they know what they're doing half the time. To the real movie goers, the real lovers of cinema, First Blood and Terminator are two of the very best movies ever made. I mean, they are just wonders. Rewatchability, I mean, they're so close. I don't want to drag things on. I did recently watch the original Terminator. I have not seen the original First Blood in some time. So just on that alone, because again, I could flip a coin with these two, I'm going to go ahead and put my vote in for Terminator.
Nice. Marty?
I think Tom was spot on with his analysis. Again, a very big contrast in these movies. You've got a excuse me, I believe a Vietnam vet who was just minding his own business, and he snapped because of the way he was being treated, against Terminator, which is a total futuristic sci-fi. Both tremendous action movies. Wow. To me, again, I try to think of if it's close, is there a tiebreaker? And to me, there is. It's Bill Paxton. It does have a cameo. I'm gonna go with
Nice. That's never a bad thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so Terminator moves on. So, kind of recap the next round here. We're gonna have Revenge of the Ninja against Die Hard.
So, and by the way, so then your vote also was Terminator.
Oh, my apologies. Yeah,
Well, I mean, I assume it was.
yeah. I completely.
Oh no, that's all right. Hey,
No, so yeah, I agree.
we're speeding things up here. That's nice.
Yep. No, I agree. The Terminator. Like you guys already said, both fantastic movies. But yeah, again, if I had to watch one right now, I would pick the Terminator, and I actually just a day or two ago watched the 10 Things You Don't Know About the Terminator, as produced by the great Minty Comedic Arts.
Yeah,
So
shout out
a
to
little
Minty.
shout out.
Yeah,
Yep, Minty is.
And I've rudely jumped in here. I apologize, but when you bring up Minty,
okay.
I had to. I think as we grow as a channel and hopefully grow, and gain viewers and subscribers, when we get to what I would feel is some semblance of respectability, I would love to reach out to someone like Minty and see if we could get him on here to join us. Obviously, it'd be a movie-related tournament, and have him on as the fourth judge. So
Yeah,
that's
anybody
all I
that's
to say
a
about that.
fan of movies, yeah, I think Tom and I especially can both highly recommend Minty Comedic Arts. His videos are very well done, very entertaining. And yeah, he actually just did videos recently within the last couple weeks on Terminator and Terminator 2. So Terminator was fresh in my mind. So I'm going to kind of use that as a deciding factor and go with the Terminator. So in the second round here, we're going to have Revenge of the Ninja against Die Hard, American Ninja against Raiders of the Lost Ark, Predator against Beverly Hills Cop, and Escape from New York against the Terminator. So to start off the first matchup, let's see, I guess I'll go first. Revenge of the Ninja versus Die Hard. Oh man. Ooh. Um. Again, both classic movies. Um. Two different types of movies because obviously Revenge of the Ninja is very much based around the martial arts, where Die Hard is just a cop trapped in a building with terrorists, and so they're two different kinds of movies. But man, as much as I hate to it because I love Revenge of the Ninja, again, Die Hard, one of my just personal favorite movies, no matter what decade, genre. I just love the movie, love the characters in that movie. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go with Die Hard. Let's see. I guess Marty, if you want to go ahead and go second on this one.
I'm glad I get to go second because I want to put a little pressure on Tom.
Nice.
And I think you know where I'm going by saying that. I mean, Die Hard is, fantastic movie. But again, if we're basing this on our personal, um, subjectively, for me, rewatchability, maybe because I'm older, but yeah, Sho Kasugi, the karate and the ninja aspect to me is just huge from my childhood. I'm going to go with Revenge of the Ninja and put the most difficult this week's episode on Tom's plate.
Um, yeah, difficult because again we're whittled down to 8. They're all phenomenal movies, all in their own way. However, in this one, I'm going to say Die Hard. The rewatchability, I could watch that every December. Revenge of the Ninja, I could watch every fucking day. Let's be honest. So I'm going to go with Revenge of the Ninja here. Sho Kasugi, just a phenomenal movie. If you haven't watched it, which there may be some people listening to this that you've probably all seen Die Hard. Maybe a lot of you have not seen Revenge of the Ninja.
I doubt it.
Maybe maybe a little quirky in some spots, but I mean, it just opens out of the gate with straight up action. Um, there's a scene in a playground, which is phenomenal. There's a scene during a robbery, which, not kidding, I mean, I just think and I think Sho Kasugi was like I'm searching for the right word, but the construct behind that entire scene. And
Like
I mean, it really,
choreographer.
yes, thank you. And when he's fighting off these robbers that are trying to steal from his gallery, and he just the heart and determination of this character, in that scene when he's being drugged behind that van, and he's holding on, and he pulls himself up, and you just see his eyes, and he's beaten down and bloodied, but he's still fighting. I mean, I think that is just a phenomenal scene.
Yep.
So, yeah, Revenge of the Ninja. Sorry, Bruce. But
Yeah, and I picked Die Hard, but I picked all the movies, obviously. So it's kind of hard for me to veto anything because I like them all. And it is interesting. I was just thinking, you guys talking about how maybe a lot of people haven't seen Revenge of the Ninja. The 3 movies on this list that probably were the 3, I'd say, least known movies were probably Revenge of the Ninja, American Ninja, and The Last Dragon. But and what obviously the 1980s was a big time for, I guess, like what you call it, like the ninja craze. There were so many movies about ninjas that came out, about martial arts in the 80s, and that was kind of the prime time for all of us growing up. So all those movies, of course, have a special place in our hearts. So, but I highly recommend all of them for anybody that is unfamiliar with any of them. So, Revenge of the Ninja is moving on to face either the American Ninja or Raiders of the Lost Ark. I will go ahead and I guess Marty, if you want to go first on this one, and I'll go last.
Ooh, okay. American Ninja, which I voted for last, going against Raiders, which I believe I had also voted for. This is I guess a somewhat difficult one. Again, for the third time, I'll say it. Our tagline: it's all about the matchups. Again, look at the contrast in movies. You have one that's based on martial arts. Michael Dudikoff, very very handsome actor. You also have
Yeah.
a young Harrison Ford, equally if not more handsome. So that cancels each other out. For me, I guess for watchability, it is kind of tough, but I think my gut and heart is telling me I have to go with Raiders of the Lost Ark. But I'm a humongous fan of American Ninja without question, and I want to stop now because I'm thinking Jackson, and I'm about to change my mind.
He's going to
Right?
veto himself.
Yep, but Raiders. We're gonna go with Raiders.
Nice. All right.
Oh, yeah, and I guess
Tom.
I am second.
Yep.
They're such totally opposite movies. In the one, as I mentioned earlier, you've got this all-time great, movie by really anyone's standards, and then you've got a little low-budget Golden Globus ninja film. The choreography is not that great. As I said, I just rewatched 1, 2, and 3, and my gosh, you watch it by today's standards, you see so many punches and kicks not connecting. I mean, you got to take it for what it is, but in terms of just movies, budgets and just the directing, etc. I mean, there's no question it's Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm just going to put some pressure on Mike, just going with rewatchability again, and probably skewed simply because I just watched the movie. And again, this is all of our personal preference. It doesn't mean that American Ninja is like, on the IMDb, a higher rated movie, or I think it's better necessarily than Raiders, but just using the rewatchability criteria for me, and, grew up with American Ninja, special place in my heart. I'm going to go with American Ninja.
Wow.
Nice. And that was a good point. Like you said, these, I tried to kind of allude to that at the beginning. Like these, just a personal list, personal opinion. It's not that any of these movies, are the greatest movie of all time, maybe in my opinion, but, it's all subjective, just movies that I remember fondly for various reasons. So it's not like it's a definitive list and just, my own personal list of 16 best. Oh man. Whew. And yeah, this is a difficult one. Again, yeah, both of these are movies I've seen multiple times. So they both, to me, have high rewatchability, classic scenes in both movies. Oh man. Like
And
Marty
let me
said,
just interject here. I mean, but not to skew your opinion, but I mean, Marty, the one thing that, Michael Dudikoff and Harrison Ford might cancel each other out, but you have Jackson.
I
Raiders of the
was
Lost
thinking
Ark
that,
does
yeah.
not have a Jackson, so
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
take that into
Yeah.
consideration.
Both lead actors are, ridiculously handsome.
Yep.
Raiders only had Harrison, but yeah, that's a good point. American Ninja had Jackson, who was built as well.
Yeah, he was.
So
Oh, yeah.
that's whew. But oh man, oh goodness, this is because yeah, if you're just going just strictly on, like how the movie was made, produced, whatever, obviously Raiders was a bigger budget, but oh man, whew, I think I'm gonna shock some people. Maybe again, if I was to go and sit down right now, was gonna watch just one of these movies right now, at least the mood I'm in, and it could change, hour by hour, day by day, just depending on the mood. but the way I feel right now, if I was going to watch one of them, I think I would pick American Ninja.
Nice.
So for that, and so, God damn it, so Jackson moves on. I'm going to pick American Ninja unless Marty uses a veto.
Well, I can just tell you right now, I will not. I do want to say I feel that this is the biggest upset and shocker in the short lifespan of our podcast. To think American Ninja, has defeated Raiders of the Lost Ark, but no, I appreciate American Ninja so much. And again, as I alluded to, and you guys just now said, I mean, Jackson. So there's no way I can use my veto because I feel like it'd be personal against Jackson. I'd never do that. But wow, what an upset.
And again, Raiders, like I said, is, obviously bigger budget, a better made movie. So people may hear this like, how in the world? I've never even heard of American Ninja, but that a lot of it goes back to just, nostalgia when we were kids, loved the movie growing up. And so, it just right now, except both of them, I could rewatch any day of the week, but just the way I feel sitting here right now, picking one, it would probably be American Ninja. So Jackson, and Michael Dudikoff, they are moving on.
Can I just jump in real quick?
Absolutely.
And you can certainly edit this out, but I have to tell this quick story. Picking American Ninja over Raiders reminds me, recently at work, a few people were talking movies, and I was in the conversation, and literally, I think one of the individual's favorites was like Green Mile. I remember another one's favorite was The Color Purple. I can't remember some of the others. Hey, Marty, what's your favorite movie? The first one that jumped to mind for me was I Am Legend. And that tells you right there, you've got people that think on, I think their movies have to be more of a social commentary or, of a certain importance. To me, I enjoy movies based on what I like personally, what I consider fun. But I was almost embarrassed when people were kind of like highbrow type, movies that are quote unquote classics. But to me, these movies are right down my alley.
Yep.
So to recap the second round here, or I guess, it's going to be the third round. We're going to be starting out with Revenge of the Ninja against American Ninja. So that will be an interesting matchup. All right, the next matchup here we got in the second round, we've got Beverly Hills Cop, Eddie Murphy classic, against Predator, a Arnold Schwarzenegger classic. So Predator and Beverly Hills Cop. I will go first, I guess, in this case. And not to beat a dead horse, because, again, they're all classics. I think, most of us enjoy all these movies. Both movies, seen multiple times. I'm sure I'll watch both of them again multiple times. But right now, if I was to put one in, with all due respect to Arnold, I think I would go with Beverly Hills Cop. And again, like I said with the previous matchup, it could change at any time depending on the mood. But I think right now, if I was going to pick, I'd probably pick Beverly Hills Cop over Predator. So I'm going to go with Axel Foley. And I say, let's see, Marty, due to a possible tiebreaker, we'll go ahead. Or actually, no, maybe we'll go with Tom, because I think we know where you're going to go. So Marty will create the tiebreaker.
Yeah, well, he'll have to be the final judge here, because this will indeed be split.
Yeah.
And I mentioned the classic and all of the individual characters of Beverly Hills Cop, but I mean Predator as well. I mean, they did such a good job with the cast. Carl Weathers, Jesse Ventura,
Bill Duke.
Thank you. Yes, Bill Duke. I mean, just all great characters. But, again, not to drag it on, Predator is probably Marty was talking about being embarrassed with his movie choice. Probably my all-time favorite movie is Predator.
Nice.
So I'm going to go with Predator.
All right.
Yeah. Both great movies. I love Beverly Hills Cop. It's hilarious, but it is chock full of action. It has some like educational scenes, like when they're at that dance club. You kind of learn why I think it's Taggart. Is it Taggart? Yeah.
Yeah,
You learn why he has to remain professional on the job, even though they're at a certain
absolutely.
club.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
educational, funny, action, but um, I have to agree with Tom. I mean, like I said, I rewatched Predator no more than 3 weeks ago, and it is. I know it's from the 80's, but with the special effects, it still stands up today without question. Tremendous movie. I'm going with Predator.
All right,
Nice.
and you're not gonna get any complaint from me. I love both movies, so yeah, it's not. Like I said, it's gonna be hard for me to veto anything on this list. Predator is more than deserving, so Predator moves on, and it will face either Escape from New York or the Terminator.
Mm.
Wow.
Let's see. I guess if you want to take this one, Marty, and then I'll go second. Then
Oh, okay. Escape from New York and the Terminator, both futuristic, based movies, but two totally different movies without question. Um, Escape from New York is kind of, I think, more of like a slow burn type of a movie. Terminator, to me, I mean, it takes obviously a few minutes, but you know what the plot is right off the bat, and it just goes with, action and destruction. To me, I mean, it's somewhat easy. I'm going to go with the Terminator again. It's another Arnold movie, but to me, it
oh,
still holds up today. Tremendous movie, Terminator.
all right. Um, phew. Yeah, and I, save a little time here. I agree with all those points. Yeah, both great movies. Uh, Great characters. Obviously the Terminator and or the T-800 and of course Snake from Escape from New York. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Terminator. I'm still was teetering a little bit because both are fantastic, but yeah, Terminator is a classic, and again, thanks to Minty Comedic Arts, just recently watched a couple of videos on it, so I'm gonna give Terminator the edge. So, Tom, it comes down to you and a possible veto.
And I am the one, as I mentioned in our fourth podcast here, at least fourth full run podcast, that I've used my veto on two other occasions. But I'm going to save Mike trouble, and I will go ahead and announce the final four: Ninja versus Ninja and Arnold versus Arnold.
Yep,
I am going with
Nice.
Terminator as well. I love them
nice,
both, but rewatchability, I could pop in Terminator right now. So
nice, and that kind of tells you, the kind of the landscape of 80's action movies. Like I said earlier, the ninja craze was really big in the 80's. Hence the matchup of Revenge of the Ninja and American Ninja. But also you had Arnold, who was arguably the biggest, well, probably one of the biggest stars, period, but especially the biggest action star of the 80's with Predator and Terminator. So this is ending up to be an interesting semifinal here. I guess to kick off Revenge of the Ninja and American Ninja, if you want to take this one, Tom.
I will, and I think this is where there's a little bit of separation in my mind. As I said, I could watch these, just watched American Ninja, but again, putting the two together, just the overall makeup of the movie, general rewatchability, Michael Dudikoff versus Show. I love Michael, but there's not a that he doesn't live up to Sho Kosugi. I'm sorry, Michael. So in my opinion, this one is actually probably one of the easiest damn choices I've had this entire podcast. I'm going with Revenge of the Ninja.
Nice. Marty, if you want to go second and I can go last on this one.
Well, I'll make it pretty quick for the sake of brevity. I agree with Tom on this one. It's, again, similar because they're, ninja based, but totally different styles of movies. You've got a very, very handsome, classically good looking actor. Michael Dudikoff, definitely not bad looking either, but yeah, for me, for watchability and everything, I agree wholeheartedly. I'm also pretty easily going with Revenge of the Ninja.
And I should look this up. The gentleman that was like a secondary role actor in like almost every Golden Globus movie.
Yeah.
He's one of the colonels in American Ninja at the beginning when they get held up on roadside, and then in Revenge of the Ninja, he is the classic guy in the bathroom scene.
Oh, yeah, that's
what
true.
the F is this Halloween? Get out of here.
Yeah.
He is a classic. So kudos to that gentleman. I'm going to look up his name just to give him a shout out. But
he is cool. And if it was anyone but a ninja, I'm sure they would have left the bathroom. I would have.
And yeah, there's not going to be, any suspense. I'm not going to veto. I'm actually going to go with Revenge of the Ninja as well. Both, like Marty said, both, ninja movies, but different types of ninja movies, both classics. But honestly, the deciding factor for me may be the climactic scenes. American Ninja's climactic scene is action-packed. But Revenge of the Ninja is on another level. The final scene, it's a rooftop battle between Sho Kosugi's character and the main villain in the film.
You mean Braden?
Braden, yep. And it's a classic scene. I've rewatched just that last scene multiple times on YouTube over the years. So as much as I like both movies, I'm gonna kind of look to that as my deciding factor. That climactic scene, for anybody that hasn't seen the movie, the whole movie is great, but just that last 10-15 minute battle on the rooftop is a classic, underrated scene in my opinion. So I am going with Revenge of the Ninja as well.
And just to jump in, the soundtrack, in all seriousness,
oh yeah,
the soundtrack for Revenge of the Ninja is insane. I mean, it's all. Yeah. I don't think there's any lyrics. It's all instrumental, but it is.
Yeah, it is phenomenal.
Oh heck yeah!
So, Revenge of the Ninja makes it into the final here against Arnold. It's just a matter of which Arnold film. Is it going to be Predator or the Terminator? And I don't think I've gone first in a while, so I will go first. And this again, Arnold being, arguably the biggest action star of the 80s, well, one of the biggest action stars ever. Ah, man, both are phenomenal movies, but oh, goodness gracious. I think I am going to go with Predator. It's hard, but I think at the end of the day I'm going to go with that cast in Predator. Like you said, with Arnold, you got Jesse Ventura, Bill Duke, the great and criminally underrated Carl Weathers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I that cast alone, I think, is what's going to kind of push Predator over the Terminator for me. Um, I don't know if there's going to be a whole lot of suspense in this matchup, but I guess since Tom went second, the actually we'll go. I guess Tom, if you want to go. I guess I don't think it really matters in this case. At least I don't think it will. But
Yeah, let me take a quick sidebar here. I just want to give some people proper credit. The gentleman I was referring to was actor John LaMotta.
oh, okay.
Such a great secondary role in so many of those movies, including, on top of that, we all know him from, what was it, Ninja 3, The Domination. He's the gentleman at the beginning playing pool. That
Oh,
the ninja, and he's, you son of a... So, and
oh,
he is
okay.
just phenomenal in his role in all those movies. But and also we keep bringing up Jackson. That is actor Steve James.
Yeah,
So I want to give him
Mm-mm-mm.
proper credit as well. But yes, no, I've mentioned many times my favorite movie of all time is Predator. So as great as Terminator is, I can't really say anything else except I'm moving on Predator.
nice. So Marty, will you be using a veto to move on the Terminator?
Actually, I will not. The Terminator is fantastic movie, but yeah, Predator's on a whole nother level. Um, uh, we all were, singing its praises. What an amazing action movie it is! But it also has a little underrated comedy at the beginning when they're in the chopper. We can't talk about the jokes on this podcast, but is it Billy or I forget who's telling the joke? But
I think
there's
Billy is the guy listening to the joke that he's trying to
oh,
get to
okay.
laugh.
So, so yeah, we have just a smidgen of comedy, but yeah, Predator, it's on another level.
Nice. So all right. So in the final, then we're gonna have Revenge of the Ninja
Oh,
against Predator.
wow.
Two vastly different types of movies. Who I guess I'm just trying to think of the best order to do this. I guess if oh man, actually, I guess Tom, if you would like to go
I
first.
was hoping
To...
you wouldn't say me.
Don't don't
Well,
screw this up.
this is a dynamic where you have my favorite movie of all time, which you would think I'm just going to go ahead and go with Predator, versus probably not probably my favorite action hero actor of all time in Sho Kosugi. So I'm just going to base this on rewatchability, or that's what I'm going to try to do. The problem is I could rewatch both right now. Oh, so I say this a lot. I don't want to drag this on. Obviously, the slimmest of margins, the flip of a coin, and only because I continually say it's my favorite movie of all time. If Predator wasn't on your list, you accidentally left them out of the tournament, I think I would be voting for Revenge of the Ninja. But in this case, I'm going to go with Predator. And I feel bad
Nice.
doing it. God.
And I will go second to create a little bit of suspense for Marty because I am actually going to go with Revenge of the Ninja.
Nice.
Wow.
And, again, beating the old poor deceased horse, but all these are classic films, and yeah, it's hard to pick between those two movies. The rewatchability on both of them is very high, but I'm just gonna kind of use nostalgia. I don't remember at what point I first saw Predator, but Revenge of the Ninja. I remember watching it as a very young man, probably younger than I should have been watching any movies of that ilk, but
I think you were 1.5.
and it was like I think it was like two, so it was around there, but but yeah, the you know nostalgia for Revenge of the Ninja And and again, nothing against Predator because I love that movie as well. Could watch either one of them right now and be perfectly content. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna, like I said, go with the nostalgia I have in my heart for Revenge of the Ninja and Shokasugi, and that damn climactic scene. I'm going Revenge of the Ninja. So Marty, it is up to you, the tiebreaker.
Oh boy.
Boy, I do not
Don't-
like this.
yep.
I would love
Right.
for my power to go out and
Yep.
be
Don't
cut
drop-
off.
Don't drop the ball.
Either way you go, it's a win-win and a lose-lose to eliminate one of these. My gosh, yeah, this is a tough one. Revenge of the Ninja was also embarrassingly the movie of my childhood. I can't think of. I watch a movie definitely hundreds sometimes, no question. Wanted to be a ninja for Halloween, and my late great Grammy was not a fan of ninjas and thought they were evil and would not make a costume. But that's how much I love the ninja genre. Predator, just out of this world as far as the writing, having an alien that has all those abilities, the action comes in spurts, but when it's there, it's hot and heavy. Gosh almighty. Boy, this is honestly maybe the toughest one yet. There's a part of me that's leaning towards one of the movies, and it's so close. I'm just gonna F me. I think just based on totality of overall action and pacing, I'm gonna do a shocker here. I think I'm gonna go with Revenge of the Ninja.
Nice.
I have to do it.
What?
Wait,
Well, I actually, part of me is relieved that you both went with Revenge of the Ninja. I just feel like I told you this autographed picture of Sho Kasugi, like the eyes are alive and he's just staring through me. So, yeah, and I certainly wouldn't use a veto because if I did, then one of you would use yours, but I wouldn't even think of it. Revenge of the Ninja is definitely worthy. I would not have thought after Mike's original 16 we would have come down to Revenge of the Ninja, but I'm happy we did.
Yep. And just to kind of throw this out there too, if anybody is a fan of online gaming, there is a popular streamer out there. You can find his videos, I believe, by the name of Kasugi or Kasugi Survives.
Always neat.
He's a close personal friend of the podcast. I recommend checking out his videos. There, probably find him on Twitch.
All right.
Yep. So, Revenge of the Ninja has been
I'm
decided
happy.
as the single best action movie of the 1980s, and I will, say like I said already, all these movies classics, but it's no matter what the winner was, you can't really argue. They're all fantastic. Different types of movies, which I thought kind of made it interesting because you got sci-fi, you got just straight up, action, like something like Predator, where I guess that kind of has a little bit of I don't know if you'd say sci-fi, but with the, with the Predator itself. But then you got, your buddy comedy, you got superhero movies in there. So, the very vast, diverse selection of movies in here, and Revenge of the Ninja is the ultimate of the 1980s action genre.
Nice.
So,
and I would think folks
guess
in their
if
40s
anybody
probably
else has anything to add in closing here.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I was going to say probably people in their 40s agree with a lot of what we come up with. Maybe people in their 50s do not. Maybe people in their 30s do not. But yeah, I'm happy that Revenge of the Ninja won. I will sleep well tonight.
Me too. It's I think it's neat to maybe have, if you even want to call it a shocker, I also find it incredible that American Ninja made it to the was at the semifinals, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
I mean, how incredible! A movie that I'm guessing had an overall budget of maybe, you know, 82,000, 100,000. I'm kidding, but definitely a low budget, movie, and it made it to our semifinal.
And I
That's
think it
what you
gives you
get.
a glimpse into our childhood. And this is, again, was just our personal preference. And ironically, before we really started this, I mentioned my idea for the Golden Globus tournament. And hence, the winner here is a Golden Globus Canon Group movie. So
Yeah.
just our preference, even
And
though
it
I
is,
picked Predator.
and it is cool. Like I said, so many like well-known, high-grossing, high-budget action movies in here, and the one that won is one that not a lot of people may have heard of. But again, I recommend all these movies. So if you haven't heard of, American Ninja or Revenge of the Ninja, please seek them out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. They're all classics.
Absolutely.
All right, unless anybody else has anything to throw in here at the end. Revenge of the Ninja, best movie of the 80s, and we can call it an episode.
Yep, sounds good. Comment, like, subscribe. We're a
Yep.
small channel in need of some assistance to grow, so anything, just a simple thumbs up would be much appreciated.
Yep, and we will be back next week for another exciting episode.
Damn right we will.